This is the Olympus 25mm f1.8 premium lens, and in this video I'm going to give you my verdict on this lens to help you decide whether this is a lens that's right for you to spend your money on. The lens came out in 2014 and it's not the new Mark II lens, it's an old 11-year-old lens, and if you can still buy these brand new today, and you'd pay between $300 and $400 to get a new lens, this version, and you could also buy it secondhand and you'll pay somewhere between $100 and $200 depending on the quality of the lens. I paid £150 for this lens, and I felt that I got a good deal, and so did the seller, because I bought it on eBay. And that's sort of ballpark price that you would pay for a decent lens, one of these. Today, if I'm describing this lens with a view of giving you some information on whether you should buy this lens, why did I buy it myself? I've got the 17mm lens, which is a lens I've had for quite a while, and that lens is pretty much stuck on the front of my camera all the time, and it's my main workhorse lens. And I also have a 45mm lens, but the truth is I've got a bit of a gap in focal range because obviously between 17 and 45 I've got a massive gap in focal length, and I felt the 25mm lens would be perfect to slot in the middle, because at times I struggle really because I've got a too wide aperture at 17mm, and when I flick to 45 that's too long and it's too tight and cropped in, and I felt that I really needed something in the middle. That's exactly why I bought this focal range. I bought this lens because it filled a gap in my focal range, but who is it targeted to? Well, this lens is super versatile. You can use it for pretty much anything. In particular, you can use it for portraits. It's just long enough to be considered a portrait lens. And street photography, it'd be perfect for street photography. It's not too tight and it's not too wide. It's just that Goldilocks angle of view. You can also use it for landscape. I know it's not ideal for landscape because you want a wide lens, but it does offer you that flexibility. It offers you a wide enough lens to get the shot. If you want to add it to your wedding kit, it might help, and you could use it for weddings. And in particular, you could take it traveling with you. It's a really small lens and it'll fit in your bag, your travel bag, really well on your camera. And yeah, it's a really nice sort of angular view to use for pretty much all-purpose photography. It's a really interesting focal length because I don't want to call it a nifty 50. I don't want to call it an equivalent 50mm lens in full frame. And what I've noticed that I tend to do in these videos is compare my Micro Four Thirds lenses with full frame lenses. And I don't really know why I do that, because it is a bit of an odd thing to do, because a 50mm lens on a full frame camera is a 50mm lens on a full frame camera. It's not the equivalent of a 25mm on a Micro Four Thirds. And likewise, a 25mm focal length is a 25mm on Micro Four Thirds. It's not a 50mm full frame, even though it lends itself to. What is equivalent to both those lenses and both those systems is the field of view. So this actually is a 47-degree field of view, which is the equivalent field of view for a 50mm lens on a full frame camera. And that's what's the same. The depth of field, and the focal length are not the same. They're different. And that's why I'm nitpicking a bit. That's why I thought really that you can't really compare the two lenses. You can't really compare a 25 and a 50 and a 100, etc., because they're not quite the same thing. What you can compare though is the angle of view. If you've got this far in the video and you're enjoying what you're watching, why not consider subscribing? I'm trying really, really hard to create this photography content for you, and a bit of Instagram too. And if you really feel like it, if you feel like being really nice and helping me out, you could always subscribe. Just click the button down here and you're in. It's free. It doesn't have to cost anything. If you have already, thank you very much. And if you do, you're wonderful. Thank you. What I intend to do in this video is take a few shots with this lens and try to demonstrate to you the advantages or the capabilities of this lens, and also to point out the disadvantages. So what are the pros and cons of this lens? Well, let's start with the disadvantages first. It's got an all plastic body. It's just fully plastic. However, it does have a nice metal mount, and it's really quite good to hear that metal on metal when it clicks into the camera. Its cost is quite high, so you can pay upwards of 400 for this lens. So if you bought it new, it'd be quite expensive, especially for such a small lens. It doesn't have that nice manual focus ring that you get on the 17mm or any of the Pro lenses, which is a shame really. And the only way you can turn this into a manual focus is by going into the camera. It's not got any stabilization, but not many Olympus lenses have, but it still would be nice to have some stabilization. And finally, it's not weather sealed. So obviously, if you take this out in at a big downpour, you've got the risk of obviously getting your camera wet. And that's really what differentiates this version 1 with the version 2 lens, because the version 2 has weather sealing. But I think the rest of it, that they're pretty much similar lenses between the full 25mm version 1 and the 25mm 2. They're pretty much a very similar lens. Also, on some of the reviews I've read, I've been told that it does suffer from a little bit of colour fringing. It also suffers from a bit of vignetting and also some barrel distortion. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to test these things and take a few shots and see if I can prove that or not whether it actually suffers from those things. What are the advantages of this lens? Well, it's really small and really light. You can see in the palm of my hand how small it is. It's 56mm by 41mm, so just a couple of inches by a couple of inches, and it's really light. It weighs just over 150 grams, so it's lighter than an average packet of nuts. It's super sharp focus, so you focus on anything and it just focuses instantly. It's amazing. And the build quality is fantastic. Despite the fact that it's plastic, and despite the fact that I said that you probably won't use the focusing ring much, or you can't put it into manual focus easily, the focusing ring is really, really smooth. The optical quality is great. It's super, super sharp. And once again, despite the fact that it's got color fringing and it's got barrel distortion and it's got vignetting, they're yet to be found out. But the optical quality, the sharpness of this lens is amazing. Its minimum focusing distance is 24mm, so you can get focus really quite close. It's quite a surprise really for this lens to have such a short focusing distance. And its name is MSC. That means it's movie and still compatible. So what that tells us is the focus, the noise that the focusing makes is it's non-existent. I could demonstrate it to you, but you wouldn't hear anything, so there's no point. But you really can't hear the focusing. It's that good. Yeah, they're some of, or not all of them, the advantages you get from this lens. And I think all of those things added up really make it into a really nice lens that is nice enough for me to want to pay my money to buy it. Technically, it's a 25mm lens with a 47-degree field of view, which is a really nice field of view to have. It is at its fastest, it's f1.8. So in micro four thirds terms, it's quite a fast lens. It's quite a fast prime lens. And that 1.8 gives you that flexibility to operate much better in low light. It's got 9 elements in 7 groups, which is fairly standard, 9 pieces of glass in 7 groups. So there's a couple of 4 pieces of glass that are stuck together, which is, as I said, fairly standard. And it's got 7 aperture blades, or 7 blades on the iris. And all that really means is that if you're taking starburst shots, you'll get 14 fronds. Is that what they're called? I don't know what the stars of light. You get 14, as opposed to a lens with an even number of aperture blades, and you'll get an even number of fronds. So if it's got a 6 blade, you'll get 6 fronds. Because if it's a 7, you'll get 14, and a 5, you'll get 10. So technically, that's really how the lens stacks up. The nice thing about these Olympus premium lenses, I think they suit very well these smaller camera bodies like this EPL5, as well as the larger, more professional camera bodies, the new OM system, or my EM1 Mark II. What I intend to do is take a few shots to demonstrate how this lens works, and if I can, I'll pick out some compositions where I can have a look to see if I can pick out any of those flaws that some of these reviews have said. I doubt I can. I've given you a view already, but I'm going to have a look and see if I can find some things that I can check for things like vignetting and colour fringing and barrel distortion. Let's have a look, see if we can find some shots. I can't come to Lincoln's Arboretum without trying to take a picture of one of the fountains, and in this one I've gone for f4 because the sweet spot of this lens is f4. That's what all the reviews have said, so I'm going to go with that, but you can go down as low as f2, but I'll use f4 as my main go-to. I've got 1/40 of the second and I've gone for base ISO. I'm going to take this now because I can see some people in the picture, and let's have a look at that image and to see if that is sharp and if there's any vignetting, etc. And that'd be interesting to have a look at this image. The fountain this side is flowing much faster than the other side of the park, and for this one, I've gone for f1.8 and I've upped the ISO to 800 because I really want a fast shutter speed, the fastest shutter speed I can, to try to freeze the motion in the fountain. So I think actually what I'll do, I'll freeze the motion and then I'll do a slower shot and try to soften the motion. So let's try both of these then together. So that's first one, and that's 2-second timer, and that's the motion frozen. And now I'm going to just I'm going to take the ISO down, back down to 200 there, as you can see, and I'm going to go to f8 and I'll see what that gives me, and I'll just go with a really nice, not super slow but a slowish shutter speed there. That is quite slow, 1/5 of a second. On the 2-second time, that should give us a nice soft image, nice soft water. Let's have a look at those. I admit this is not the most interesting shot in the world. I've got the railings of this storage unit, the sort of the metal railings that are keeping things locked in. But I'm hopeful that these lines will show us if this lens is suffering from barrel distortion, because if it is, those lines should be bowed out. So I've gone for 1.3 second f4 because it's quite a dark image, and I've got the 2-second timer on, so I'll just focus on one of the lines and we'll see what that comes out like, and hopefully that will tell us if there is any sort of flaws with this lens, with at least the barrel distortion. Just to demonstrate how good the minimum focusing distance is, I'm going to try and take a picture of this flower. It looks like an orchid to me. In this image, I've gone for f1.8 just to get the softest background that I possibly can. I'm really, really close up to this flower. I'm as close as I can get. It's focusing right on the flower. I've got a 2-second timer, 1/25 of a second, and I'm just going to do that now, and let's see what that comes out. I'm really hoping for a nice photo, a close focusing distance and a nice smooth background. Thank you very much indeed for watching. If you've got this far in the video, I'm really pleased and amazed you have. If you've enjoyed the video so far, then why don't you give it a like? That would be amazing. Once again, thank you very much indeed for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.